are people more open to this now than ever before? Because I just find that people are like, I'm not going to share my stuff. I'll share it with my 2-3 girlfriends over the phone. We'll have a conversation, or we'll go out for drinks, and, I'll let go a little bit. But to formalize it or make it a weekly thing where you're holding space, are communities and people sort of becoming more open to this?
I think it's very difficult to convince people to come into a space like this, if I'm going to be totally honest. If you say this is a space where you're going to be honest and open with people that you don't know, people are like, no, that seems a little scary. And so what we've had to do is kind of, I don't want to say trick people into it, but kind of bring people into it and say, if you're open to it, you can share in this way. And once people come in, they're like, wow, this is incredible. This feels amazing. But it is very scary to expose yourself in this way and to be vulnerable in this way. And I acknowledge that. And so it's really, really important to me that people are allowed to engage in the way they want to engage at their pace with no pressure. And so we will often do things and just keep them very light and very easy, and people get to choose. That's a really, really, really important tenet of the group, is people get to choose. There's no pressure. And when I do facilitator training, I say, if people are very emotional and they open up to the group, that is not a more successful group than a group where someone says, wow, it's interesting. I do keep a lot of my stuff close to my vest. There is no more successful self-realization than another self-realization. And it is really, really important as facilitators to not tie your worth as a facilitator to how deep you get people to go, because then it's about you.
Yeah.
It's about you as the facilitator and not about meeting people exactly where they are. So the answer is, I hope that people will come to see this as more normal, to be able to share. But I acknowledge that it is very, very vulnerable, and it is very scary to show yourself to other people in this way. And so we don't push people to engage.
But why are groups and these community sort of groups so powerful? Why is there so much healing in the space when you get people together in a safe space?
I think people don't realize how much they're pretending and lying in their lives. I think that the steady state for most people is a lot of disconnection and misalignment with themselves. And the reason for that is because people are protecting themselves from the world. They're protecting themselves from judgment. They're protecting themselves from rejection. But that was the life I was living. And it's a very, very, very lonely, lonely place. When you do not actually show yourself to someone else, the person they're interacting with is your avatar. So your avatar is having a good life with friends and colleagues and doing all this, but the person who you really are has no connection to other people, and it's completely alone. And so if you can just have a space where people can allow themselves to be seen, where people can allow themselves to feel what it feels like for the actual them, the true them, to be seen and accepted and loved and held with compassion by other people, that opens up so many worlds of connection that aren't available. And so I think people think, oh, I'm not lonely. I'm surrounded by lots of people. But if they're not showing who they really are to those people, they can actually feel very, very lonely, even when surrounded by lots of people. And so that true human connection where you show yourself to someone else that is possible in these groups, to me, can be really revolutionary in someone's life.